called SaveBrett.net. Joining us right now from SaveBrett.net is the webmaster, the guy who came up with it, Tony Mars. Joins us here on the Time Warner Cable Business Class Hotline. Tony, Gary, and Cliff here. How are you?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. All right, so SaveBrett.net, what's the difference between your site and the Rolfson Brothers site of BringBackBrettFavre.com?
Well, I think we're definitely following along some similar lines. What we've got going on is an online petition that we hope to present every time we get 1,000 signatures. We're sending them off to the Green Bay Packers and off to Brett Favre to show both the Packers and Favre that there's a tremendous number of people that will take time out of their day to sign their first and last name, their real name, give their email address, and say, Brett needs to come back in 08-09. And it's important for Brett to have that kind of exposure so he doesn't just think it's only what the management's doing that represents Green Bay, and that the Packers themselves realize the fans are not happy with the product that they're building.
So you're not happy with the product that the Green Bay Packers have put on the field thus far?
Yeah, I think that, most people would say, look, you got Brett Favre, an absolute Babe Ruth-level figure who just came off of one of his best seasons. We were maybe a pass away from going to the Super Bowl, and that quarterback wants to come back and lead the team this year. I'd say that any team, any quarterback deserves that right who's performed that way. This isn't
Tony,
just a trip of nostalgia. This is real results.
I understand that that's your opinion. Tony Mars from SaveBrett.net joining us here on 1250 WSSP. Tony, you say you're not satisfied with the product. Here's my question. How can you say that when you haven't seen the product? They haven't played a game without the guy yet.
No, of course not. But I think that that question goes both directions. We know what we've got in Brett Favre. We've got a living legend of football who has given himself over to essentially 20 years to Green Bay and had a tremendous career there. I think that not only do we owe it to him as a favor, as a courtesy, but we owe it to ourselves as fans and as a proud community to bring back the guy who has brought us to a whole different level, than we've ever seen, really, before in the Green Bay Packers. This sort of arc of success is not a familiar thing pre-Brett Favre. So we know it. And what we're not happy about is seeing him being diminished by the Packers, by them not accepting him back. And I think what we're dealing with is just a regular guy. He's a legend in football, but he's a person, and he's been trying to sort out a very private decision in public. And we're seeing his honest waffling that anyone who's going to make a monumental decision in their life goes through.
Tony, how long you want Brett Favre to be the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers?
As long as he wants to and as long as he performs.
As long as he wants to and as long as he performs.
Tony, last one for you. How many signatures do you have so far in your online petition?
We have over 1,600 signatures, and it looks like we're going to break 2,000 by the end of the day today at the current rate we're going. So if anyone out there wants to sign, it's SaveBrett.net, and we do a very rigorous a system here. This is not like a blog or a forum where you can just post up 50 times if you're a super fan. You get one signature per first and last name per email address. So you have to have a verified email address. It has to be real. And so our signatures, while lower in numbers than than the other one that you mentioned, which I can never quite remember, they're doing a great thing, but we have to make it as rigorous as if people were signing paper and putting their home address down like in the old days, back in the 20th century. This is the 21st century petition. It's just as rigorous. It's just as meaningful. And really, we hope to work with those guys at that other site and present our petitions together to the Packers because the more that they see that there are different people willing to spend time organizing, there are different people out there willing to sign petitions, the better. So go to SaveBrett.net and sign that petition.
All right, Tony, my last one
or if you don't agree,
Tony, hang on.
Come on the site and say you don't agree. We take all comers.
All right, well, that at least is good. You're allowing both sides of it. My last question for you, and I'm not trying to be a tool about this by any stretch of the imagination, but
Clip a tool?
But no, me never.
That's usually what people say right before they're going to be. So go ahead. What are you saying to me?
It's sort of like the I love Brett disclaimer before you wind up saying something that's not necessarily pro Brett. My only question is, realistically, Tony, what do you expect these petitions to accomplish realistically?
Realistically, I expect that that these businessmen who are running the Packers right now understand that the fans at the bottom line and at the end of the day are their customers. And if their customers are writing and calling saying they don't like the way that the product is being run and built, they're going to, at some point, it's going to affect their mind. It's going to affect their thinking. So the more signatures that we can get on those petitions, the more that's going to affect their thinking of saying, we've maybe gone down the wrong road here, and we should have Brett back and put an end to it, and let him report to training camp on time, and don't insult a legend by saying that he's got to compete with a rookie for the starting position after he's coming off of one of his best seasons ever. And it's understandable why he doesn't want to come back in those circumstances, but it feels like a manipulation. So if we get these petitions signed, and we get thousands and thousands of people to express their heartfelt and lots of times eloquent opinion and send that over to Green Bay, I think that's going to play in their minds because at the end of the day, they're a business and they need to keep their customer happy, and that's the dedicated fans that we've got. I mean, last thing we want to see.
All right, thanks, Tony. We appreciate it, buddy. We're up against it here. Thanks, we appreciate it. We appreciate you letting us talk to you about what you got going on, and we'll most certainly put it out there on the airways and let everybody know where they can go sign up. Thanks,
Tony Mars, who started up SaveBrett.net.